Pleasant good morning, one and all. Good morning to all you students of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Welcome to today's episode. Today's Wednesday. We have the midweek episode, Wednesday, the 15th day of October 2025. Share the live and let them know that you're here with us. And let them know that you're here with us. Good morning. If you can hear me, just indicate whether you can hear me. So I saying yes. Brenda, make a guess as to what happened. Anybody's guess as to what happened? We started off. I was just starting to greet you, and then there was blackout. So I'm on standby now, and share the live. Share yes. Rhonda, blackout. So people said they're hearing me now. Luckily, CC is okay, so he's gonna be with us in a short while. So I had just started to welcome you to the midweek's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption Incompetence, and then we get what we call Guyana's Best Blackout. So here we are. I'm back on. And what I'm gonna do in order to play it safe, I will, if the system allows me, I will continue on standby power for the remainder of the morning. So yes, share the live. Share the live and let them know that you're on. Today is Wednesday, the 15th day of October in the year 2025. And we're again, another good day, another day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living, notwithstanding the blackout and all of that. We are alive. We are in the land of the living. So let's give praise and thanks. And let's never ever take it for granted that now that we're here, we wake and see a new day. Some of us, most of us, would have had something to eat. If we did not eat, sometimes it's because of we choose not to. Well, in many cases, people really don't have anything to eat. So we have got to be thankful. We have got to always be thankful. Monday was Thanksgiving Day in Canada, and there's always something to be thankful for. At least be thankful for life. So if you get blackout, you have to have life to experience the blackout. If you get life, it doesn't matter whether you get power or not. So yes, share the life. The program was scheduled this morning at 8 o'clock. That's when the school gate was open, or the gates were open. And as is customary now, many of you students were here. But I'm sure that because of the blackout, a lot of people would have been struck out. Indeed, all those who came on from between 8 and 10:22 were all struck out. So I know Bartlett was the first man on. I remember seeing that. But right now, I'm going to skip the roll call because hundreds of students have been struck off. I think it's going to be unfair for us to start at 10:22. And that is when, because we scheduled at 8 and 8 o'clock. I looked and I saw many, many, many students in the schoolyard. But now, when I look now after getting back on, it starts here now with the first student being in at 10:22. That is not the correct thing. So let me move to the announcements. As I said, Mr. Conway is on. He's in the studio. Partly where he is, they don't have any blackout there. So he's going to join us in a short while. He's always anxious to join us. But we start with the sad announcements first. We normally start with that. And I want to remind students that today is 562 days since Sergeant Vaughn was shot and killed. Police Sergeant Vaughn shot and killed 562 days ago. And then we never heard much. Initially, they told us friendly fire, some rank who was placed under close arrest. Then the postmortem revealed 3 gunshot wounds. And I said, given my experience with firearms, that unless it was an automatic firearm, couldn't be accidental. Could not be accidental unless it was automatic. And let me explain for those of you who don't understand. Now, if it's an automatic firearm, and this is not telling tales out of school, this is not teaching people the wrong things. If it's an automatic firearm and you have a magazine in and you cock it and your finger go on the trigger, the weapon continues to fire until the finger is removed from the trigger or the magazine is empty. That's automatic. Rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat, as they would say. Continues to fire until the magazine empty or until the finger is removed from the trigger. Then you release the pressure. If it's anything else, semi-automatic or a revolver or anything like that, right? It means every time a round has to go off, you have to squeeze and depress the trigger. You squeeze and you press, or if you squeeze and keep squeezing, one round only will fire. You have to release and squeeze again for a second, and it goes on like that. So the fact that they said 3, this rounds struck Sergeant Van, as again I say, unless it was an automatic firearm, it could not have been an accident. But they haven't told us what type of firearm. These people who claim to be transparent haven't told us what type of firearm was involved in the death of this sergeant. And 562 days and counting. So we need to remind you about that. We need to remind you too that I told you that former member Mary Light 0853 will be buried on the October the 16th. Right, that's tomorrow. And the arrangement is at Merrimon's from 1 to 3. Merrimon's from home, 1 to 3 Ben Street. And then thereafter, burial will take place. And then tonight, there's a wake at the Girl Guides Pavilion, Brigham, from 6 p.m. 6 this afternoon, Girls Guide Pavilion, Brigham, there's a wake for Mary Light. Then we told you about the death of another member, W257 Marva Glasgow. When I last reported on Monday, I told her she was cremated on Friday. Now I received word but I did tell you too that there will be a memorial service in New York on the 25th, Saturday the 25th of October. I received information this morning that It will be in Jamaica, Queens, the Wesleyan Church in Jamaica, Queens, 134-49 228th Street, Laurelton, Queens. Zip code is 11413. So I'm going to bring it back. I'll tell you more about it on Friday, but that's the information that I have. Then I received word yesterday of the death of a former member, John Bevney. I can't recall his number, but he's a countryman, Yale from BV. He used to be at the Presidential Guard. I understand his number was 14,000 police, but John passed away, I think, day before yesterday. Someone called me yesterday and told me that John died. I remember John very well, very well. He lived not too far from me, and if I ain't lie, I think we're related, a distant relative. So John has passed out. Then you would have heard, I said on Monday that I was pleasantly surprised that we hadn't any fatal accident over the weekend. At least none was reported, accident or incident or deaths. Here we are now after report. They said an unidentified man was found with a gunshot wound in his head in Middle Road. That was yesterday morning. That was reported. Man, find another murder. It's another murder. And then it was reported too, I think they reported this morning, of another fatal accident on the East Coast. They said Lusitana or somewhere there by the light. Fatal accident. That's what you have. That is the reality. Despite what they're telling you, the early traffic chief said they did all they can do. So it looked like he threw up. It looked like he surrendered. He surrendered. White flag. White flag. Look like that. Right? So it goes on. It goes on. Are we going to talk some more about the accident situation? Because I noted that quite a few persons now are joining the call for something to be done about the madness on the roads in Ghana. That's what you want a conversation. And following the conversation, you want decisive measures. Not them upscotch and slipshod thing what they're doing. You want this thing to be comprehensive. Because as I've said, we are in a crisis. And we're trying to change a culture. And it's not easy. I will say that over and over again. We are trying, they have to change a culture. And the culture is one of lawlessness. And let me tell you this. Don't confine it to what is going on in the road. In almost every aspect of life in Guyana, you see the indiscipline, you see the lawlessness, almost every aspect. By the government, you see them doing all sorts of illegal things. And if the government is doing illegal things, one can very well expect citizens will do things to monkey see, monkey do. That is that is the reality. That is the reality. So we have that. And then we again, sad. I can tell you all about the Bordes and Swans, so it was sad. I am seeing in the news this morning allegation that a 5-year-old female was raped. 5-year-old. I read the article and you're repulsed by what you read. 5-year-old. Only last week, I think it was, we were talking about a 6-year-old, a 62-year-old man raping a 6-year-old. We spoke about it last week. He's charged and remanded. Now we are reading today that a 5-year-old child is raped. I think they said is a teenager raped her. That is what has been reported. Sick place. Sick place. And I said this again. I am happy that I don't have any grandchild or anything at them tender age. Because I don't know. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I say that over and over, and my record will prove that. But if something like that were to happen to someone that close to me, I don't know how I will react. That is the reality. That is the reality. You know, when you do management, they have a concept where they talk about the Johari window. Johari window. The Johari window would have come into play. Johari window, 4 panes in the window. So one pane that you know what you're going to do. One pane you don't know because you never experienced that. And they explain it. This is not the time for the management thing. But you will never know what you will do until you're confronted with a particular situation. And I pray that I'm never confronted with a situation like that. Now let me move to the happier things, and let me go come back to some more about that. And one of the things, birthday greetings today, a very good friend of mine Former Commissioner Winston Gordon Felix is celebrating his natal day today. Winston Gordon Felix, 8416 Felix, right? And you know, he told me many years ago that he joined the force too on his birthday. I think it was 1971, but was on the 15th of October, his birthday, he joined the force. So today it is birth anniversary and his anniversary in the force. Today too, we have a birthday, retired Senior Superintendent Courtney Ramsey. Courtney, and your brother called me, Courtney, I told him I knew, and he wanted me to give you a special birthday on his behalf. His brother was a police too, 1989, Ramsey. I know Courtney gone into the history books in Guyana, you know, gone into the history book. Courtney was recommended to be promoted to Assistant Commissioner by the Police Administration. When it got to the Police Service Commission, the information was that the commission agreed and promoted him to Assistant Commissioner. When that list went to other places in Brickdam and Rob Street, they removed his name and they inserted another name, right? Inserted a name. And what they claim? They claim he challenged it in court. He had the balls to challenge it in court. And he was successful because the Police Service Commission at the time, that was the Service Commission before I went there as chairman, me and CC, said that one of the reasons why they overlooked him for promotion is because he was due to retire shortly. And Courtney, who was an excellent detective, did his work and found two persons who had been promoted to Assistant Commissioner while they were on pre-retirement leave. So they argued that the reason that they advanced couldn't stand. And I remember well when I was the chairman of the Police Service Commission, the matter reached before the court, they wanted an explanation. I tell them that they call the previous chairman to explain because I see no justification for him not being promoted. And you know what happened? The court ruled in Courtney's favor and ordered them to pay a whole set of money and all. And they dance the same Brutus and them do all sort of thing and delay the matter. But I hope by now, Courtney, that you have gotten your money, your just reward. I hope that you have gotten it. And we have to former Sergeant Natasha Alkins Marks. She's observing our birthday to Natasha. She used to be I remember her at the Public Relations Department there, and then she migrated. She is observing her birthday today. Belated birthday greetings are going out to a man who was my 2IC at Brickdam, Clementius Ross. Clementius Ross, he's somewhere in the Essequibo Coast, I understand. He had a birthday recently. And there's a birthday I missed on Monday. Former Guy Mine, Lynn Mine Chief Security Officer, Mr. Desmond Clement. He recently celebrated his 86th birthday. I got the message, Mr. Clement, but somehow it missed me to announce it last Monday. Apologies. And then the final birthday greetings today is going out to Mr. Simeon Gorick. He was a member of the force too. Simeon was my ride and die partner when I was going to university, right? My ride and die partner. We went to university together. Simeon was a member of the Guyana Defense Force. He did the standard military officers course. He was successful. And then he had been with Larry Lewis in the National Guard Service. When the National Guard Service came across to the police, he came across with the other members into the regular force. And we went to UG together. We did our diploma in public administration. Simeon graduated as the best student in that program. You get the Prime Minister's Medal as the best student. And then we both moved on and we did our first degree. And we were in the same, we were a study group. We used to study from UG. We meet in the night and we study and so on. And let me tell you this. When I became traffic chief and I wanted to revise the learner driver program, Simeon is the man who I called. I called him. I said, Simeon, write the traffic headquarters. This thing here with this traffic learner driver thing, it's chaotic. The system had led to widespread corruption. I said, what can we do? And we sat down and Simeon and me came up with this package arrangement that they corrupted. When we came up with that arrangement, and we had to do, I had to do the presentation in front of the senior management to convince Larry Lewis and the other senior officers that this is something that we should try. And there was a lot of pushback. A lot of the senior officers, especially some of them who were in traffic, did not want that to be implemented. And then we implemented it, and it was a resounding success. And then what happened? The people there, these things depend on people. And the people who were there corrupted the system over the years. So you get to the stage now where, let me say, 100 people write the examination, a return is submitted with 200 people pass. More people passing than those who write the examination. Could not have been when we were there. The system that we designed, Simeon and I designed that system. So happy birthday to all those who are celebrating today, all those who celebrated recently, and who are celebrating in the near future. And Sean said, used to teach at the Felix Austin Police Car. Yeah, brilliant man. Simeon Gorick, happy birthday to you, my brother. Winston, special birthday to you, Courtney. Special birthday greetings to you as well. Clementius Ross, right? He was there with me at Big Dam. When, and then he was there around the 2007, I think, election. They had stayed on for that period. Or when the thing quieted down, then he was, they were sent on the retirement leave, right? He and some other officers. And I remember well because when he was going off and for a replacement as the 2IC to commander a division, I was the commander at the time, was a big clash with me and Green. Green was the commissioner, and he wanted to foist a certain person as a 2IC. I said, I said, he ain't gonna be my 2IC. I said, if you want him to be the 2IC of a division, no problem, but I will not be the commander. Put me somewhere else, right? And I prevailed. I got call his name. Not wrong any longer, he deceased, but still ain't gonna call his name. So yeah, happy birthday to all those who celebrated recently. And before I bring in Mr. Conway, I gotta tell you all about a couple more things. Cricket, we had cricket. Congratulations to West Indies test team for putting that match into the 5th day. The second test match, even though they lost, the match went into the 5th day, which is a tremendous, remarkable improvement from the previous game. And previous games, we won in one match, they scored 27. They now prompting Jeff Boycott, to make all sort of statements to see there's an exchange of words between E and Mikey William. And then we had Pakistan and South Africa. Pakistan prevailed against South Africa. And today is the Coast 78, the 50th anniversary of Coast 78. They joined, I understand, on the 15th of October, 1975. There's a unique batch of policemen, unique in the sense that they were 9,900. 99. Back in the day when they gave examples about police, said 99 Jones. But then when the number came to 99, it was 99 Phillips. And then there was a little bit of confusion around that time. I'll give you a little issue, because the women used to be numbered on their own branch, W so much so. Then men used to be numbered along the same, different branch. When it reached the 99 Phillips, people like Sweeney and 04 and 039 something police and smart, they had some confusion as to the numbering, right? So Sweeney, Wilfred would say that he had 2 numbers. They had one and then they took that one away. And it's from then that the male and female ranks get the same numbering. All that happens is that the female will get a W before the number, and the male is the same line they number them on. So yeah, congratulations to Coast 78, 50th anniversary. Let me bring in CC now. CC, welcome, my brother.
Good morning. Praise the Lord. We all in the land of the living to do God's work. Congratulations, starting with Winston Gordon Felix, retired Commissioner of Police. Happy birthday to you, sir. And I know you did quite a lot for me. I remember when I was your 2IC operations, and you said, hey, I want you to go to the division to do some policing to get some experience at the command level. You and Ivla Whitaker, you are our senior superintendent and you're going to be senior. Go. He said, I recommend you to go to A division to be Henry Green 2IC. But because I said so, and Larry Lewis not going to send you there. And I remember about a week afterward, Larry Lewis called me, he said, come upstairs. He said, tomorrow morning, go and take over ENF division, the largest division in the country then. That's comprised region 1, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And Larry Lewis spoke to me for about half an hour, like a father to a son. No cussing, no big shouting, anything there. And I went and I took over there. And that was the start of my going about and commanding division. The only division I ever command is region 2. But true to Felix, I was able to move out and command the division. And he used to say, hey, Conway, I'm going to save the hardest punches for you. Anything go wrong in your division, I'm punching you. And he had a wicked left hook. But he made me strong and he made me, a better leader with those shots there. And to the Coast 78, people like Flash Garden and Pompey and West and Grosvenor, congratulations to you all. And also to Ramsey, special birthday greetings to you, Ramsey. And I hope your wife Raquel gonna take care of you properly for today and that she been doing there. And Paul, you mentioned the Johari window, and it jarred my memory because I studied Johari window. It's a management model talking about developing relationship. They talk about the open self, the hidden self, the blind self, the subconscious or undiscovered self. A very, very interesting module. Maybe another day we're going to look at it. But the Johari window, and for the students, you can check up the Johari window. It's very, very interesting and very, as a leader, you should know about the Johari window. And that's all for the while.
Right, thank you, my brother. Thank you. I have fond memories of Winston too, because I'm happy he reached out and he's thanking us for extending birthday greetings to him. When I started university, we started university in the diploma course together. So we used to be in the same study group and all this stuff. Yeah, became very, very good friend, and we have remained friends all through the years. As a matter of fact, let me say this. I know he's not going to be offended by it. Many senior people were a bit, let me put it this way, offended by the closeness when he was commissioner and he brought me down from Barbados to take over a division. A certain man in particular wasn't too fond of the closeness between myself and the commissioner. But friendship was friendship. Now let me move on and reminding you folks that this month, October month, is Cancer Awareness Month. Cancer, again, I'm going to repeat this almost every program, to urge you to make sure women go and get your mammogram, because somebody reminded me on the last program that men get breast cancer too, which is true. Men get breast cancer too. Go get your mammogram, women. Men and women go and get your colonoscopy. My sister died from colon cancer, right? So I have always been preaching the awareness. Men, go and get your prostate check. Somebody saying no song. The DJ, check your system, please. DJ, I try to check your system because others are hearing me loud and clear. Yeah, I had mine checked. And I going through some things the other day, and I was able to find my last colonoscopy pictures, which I'll carry to the doctors and let them check again. Right? So go and get your check done. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. They say that early detection can lead to the saving of your life. So don't be afraid. Don't be. Right? Now let me move on. Today, the 15th of October, 2025, is 4 years since that day on the 15th of October 2021 when I turned up in the Georgetown Magistrate Court compound, right? And the ransom Soku, Assistant Superintendent Krishnath Ramana, me got a record, 17955 Corporal Winston Singh, 23975 Constable Shakil Juke, and 23100 Constable Conrad Thomas. They are in the courtroom compound there, waiting to arrest me for a charge of conspiracy to commit fraud. The same charge that I turned up in court for. I told you a little about it on Monday. They charged myself, Conway, and others of conspiracy to commit fraud when we were asked to revise the police standing order. We did so, or we were working on it, right? Elections intervened, causing us to stop this 2020 elections. Thereafter, it was COVID, and we couldn't continue. When they wanted to get me, when the government wanted to get me and Conway off of the Police Service Commission because I wasn't acquiescing to the illegal demands of the government and them, right? So they wanted to move me off. So they came with this trumped up charge. When started, the whole investigation started when Robeson Shooting Scoot Ben in Parliament in 2021 made a statement that $300 million were missing from the police finance office. That's what he said in Parliament. The records are there. That prompted an investigation by SOCU, the Special Organized Crime Unit. They went to the police finance office and they seized vouchers and so on to start this investigation. During the time of going through the vouchers, they came up with vouchers where Conway, myself, Whitaker, George Fraser, Gilbert were paid a stipend by the Force Administration for revising the police standing order. And the marshal, I get Conway and Slow, because at that time, the Police Service Commission that we were members of caused an investigation to be done against the same individual, and the departmental charges were, we get Slow and Conway. Right? All right. So you were charged. We told you Conway was arrested and others. I traveled into Guyana on the 13th of October 2021 to attend court because no allegation was ever put to me. I wasn't aware of the charge and so on. They never put no allegation to me. I saw things in the newspaper about the conspiracy to commit fraud charge. They went to court, so cool, and then they applied for an arrest warrant for me. I was working abroad. They applied for an arrest warrant. And the magistrate refused because the magistrate said this man is not on bail. No allegation was put to him. He had no nothing. How you going to ask to arrest warrant? So following that, Ramana applied for a summons. Right? My lawyer, Mr. Hughes, informed me about the summons. Right? So I said, well, look, my tour of duty will end at this particular time, and I can be available. I can come for the 15th of October. He said, all right. Ramana left the summons with the defendant summons with Mr. Hughes, which is not proper service. When that was communicated to me, I said, look, me are running hiding from nothing. I will come on the 10th court on the 15th. I came on the 13th of October. It was a Wednesday. Right? They were trying to arrest me. They were tracking my phone in an attempt to arrest me on the 13th. They didn't get through. Because even before that, the day when Conway and others were arrested, I was traveling to Guyana that day. And they went to the airport. Soku ranks went to the airport to arrest me when I arrived in Guyana. Well, I smarter than them. They didn't arrive that day. And then they went up the next day because they understand that I was coming the next day. I didn't travel in then. When I traveled in, that was in May. When I traveled in October, apparently they didn't know that I was coming, so they didn't go to the airport to arrest me. But they were tracking my phone to locate me to arrest me. And I, being a trained man, did what I had to do. They didn't get to arrest me on the 13th. They did not get to arrest me on the 14th. When I turned up on court on the 15th, it was COVID time. Everybody get on mask. I walk into the court compound through the western entrance. I see the people standing at the platform. I take it for nothing. But I walk in there now. Ramana, Krishnarat Ramana, he was an assistant superintendent then, approached me and told me that I was under arrest. I said, for what? He said, for conspiracy to commit fraud. At that stage, I realized it's the same matter that I'm attending court for, the same matter that he applied for summons and got. And they tell me they're arresting for the same thing. I said, well, no, you don't have any legal authority to arrest him for charge that is already before the court. The charge that is I'm attending, I have turned up now to attend to answer this charge. You can't arrest me, you have no such authority. Well, they will answer me, he and Duke and all them will answer me. The tape went viral. I tell them plain, because the plan was to arrest me then, take me into the outpost of the Dorchester Street Court, shackle me, put handcuff on for me, and carry me through the port walk, because they had all the people them who were lying to them standing by with cameras and all them. I said, let me tell you something. I said, me ain't going in no court. I am not going in no police outpost. I am here to answer to a summon that you applied for, and the only place I'm going is in the courtroom to answer this charge. And they will learn and they talk, and I was at a man. I know a man tell me, a man who grew up with me and who knew me well when I was much younger and perhaps more vibrant. He said that the Paul Slow I saw there is not the Paul Slow I knew when we were growing up. And he was right. I am matured. I have matured. Because I look at the four of them, and Slow in the days would have taken them on. I would have taken them on. But I get mature. Not old, I get mature. And they will for me, and I held my grounds. I stood my grounds. They had no lawful authority. And the joke was, Ramana, tell me that, look, he's arrested me to read the caution after charge. And one of them, can't remember which one, I think it might have been Thomas, push it in the pocket and put a paper. I said, what nonsense is this? What caution after charge? Caution after charge is not read when a person is already charged and before the court. Don't get mixed up. Caution after charge is read when the charge is read to the person at the station. Once you read the charge to them, then immediately following, you read them the caution after charge if they wish to say anything in relation to the charge that was just read to them, not months after when the person appeared in court. And they were insisting that I was go. And here is, I then turned to Ramana, and I said, who are you? Let me see some identification. Because, as I've said, and I wasn't being facetious or anything like that. You know that I know a name. I can't have no recollection of seeing any one of them before. So I said, let me see some ID. The man had no identification in him. I know when he asked me, you believe I can come into the police, into the magistrate court to impersonate a police officer? I said, that is not the point. I said, there is a SOP. You are in civilian clothes, and if you want to arrest someone, you have to identify yourself by using your identification card. At which stage he sent one of them to the car, and they brought the identification card. It's up on video. My lawyer, Mr. Selwyn Peters, I know you all is bashy and all them, he came up shortly after. He had traveled to Guyana from Canada to be there with me. And he found out, I told him what happened, and he told them to release me, and they refused. They continued holding and tugging me. Then Mr. Patrice Henry, another attorney, intervened. And then eventually, they allowed me to go up to the court. And they accompanied me up to the court. I went there, and then shortly after, I see that disappear. I know they get a call or something like that disappear. My information is that I went to a certain man, a certain senior man, right? And well, he sent and he called them. And he gave them a proper cussing out. Oh yeah, why they didn't arrest me? Because they were waiting for this picture with handcuffs and shackles and all of that. And following that, you had a lot of stupid people, I must call them, including the product of the expired traumatized sperm, saying you must comply and come. You are not, let me say this, students, you cannot be compelled to carry out an unlawful order. If the police doesn't have the lawful authority to arrest you, you are not supposed to be going. They can't force you to go with them. They have to have lawful authority first. And in this case, they had no lawful authority. So I knew my rights and I stood my grounds. You can't carry me anyway. But I said, you write big in the paper and talk a lot of shit that I should have complied and then complain later. I have to remind them about Nuremberg Tribunal. Because them not properly read. Nuremberg Tribunal That is a tribunal that was held in Nuremberg, Germany, following the Second World War, where they were these Nazi generals and other officers were charged with war crime, and all to a man uses the excuse that they were ordered by Hitler to exterminate the Jews, and they were only carrying out orders. And the tribunal held that no one can be compelled to carry out an unlawful order. And if you carry out an unlawful order, you're not absolved. You got to face the music. Most of them were executed following that. Most of them. And then the former president too, Donald Ramatar, all them thing, he wrote a letter in the newspaper, and then he reminded them people that Ashley Singh was arrested too. And there's Ashley Singh. There's Ashley Singh. Ashley Singh, I know he writes. So when they were so cool upon him and put a handcuff and swamp on him, he didn't know what he had to do. I knew and I know my rights. Ashley Singh, I deal with finance. I used to deal with policing. And a good police can make rings around the likes of Ashley Singh and them. Right? I stood my ground. So today is the anniversary of that infamous incident. There are more details I can't go into at this stage because the matter is engaging the attention of the High Court. Suffice to say that a certain course of action was suggested and rejected. It was suggested and it was rejected. The matter, I think, should have come up or came up on the 19th of August. I think it was the 19th of August. And I learned from my attorneys recently that the matter is now scheduled for the 23rd of January 2026. So I'm going to keep reminding them about them things, That's what I can't take with me. I get good memory. Thank the Lord, I have good memory. And people must not be allowed to forget these things. For example, Adriana Young murder, people don't forget, don't come off the front burner, Don't come off the front page. Mine may have come off, but I can keep reminding them on every opportunity I get what it's all about. I will keep reminding them. The names of those persons who were involved and all of them. The ranks from SOKU, right? The ranks from the Special Organized Crime Unit who were sent there to arrest me. So there was what they want to do. They want to embarrass me. That's the most I can do. They wanted to embarrass me. Well, some of them want to kill me too and so on. But when the time come for me to die, the Jehovah will determine that. Right? Jehovah will determine that. So before I move off at this and I bring in CC, because CC was there on the 15th of October too, and he would have observed a lot that transpired. I just want to let you know that I was in court yesterday again with what the charge name, I just got to think to remember it. Anonymity of complainant charge. Yesterday, it was a brief hearing. My lawyers wanted to make some submissions, and then the matter is put off for the 18th of November 2025, right? 18th of November 2025. So I got court date on the 31st of October. I got court date on the 14th of November, court date on the 18th of November, and court date on the 23rd of January 2026. Yeah, I get all them court date. All. I have never missed one. Never missed one. I ain't running and hiding. They said, do nothing, fear nothing. And at the end of the day, the truth will be revealed. There are a lot of things I can't talk, Lots of things I can't talk. But the time will come. So stay tuned. Keep following Speaking Out, and you're going to hear all that transpired. Let me bring in CC. CC, you were there on that, should I say faithful, that day, and you would have observed what the Sokurans did to me. Any comment?
Yeah, I was there right to the court step. Imagine you going to attend court, and at the court step, they're going to unlawfully arrest you. But I'm happy that you took them to court, and I'm happy that the course of action that they want to take, that you didn't accede to it, Justice got to be done, and they got to be done in a massive way. So I know there's no letting up, and you're going to carry it to finality.
Yeah, something else happened another day. I almost forgot to tell you. On that day after I appeared in court, I made a complaint at the police breakdown. They were temporarily located in the St. Stanislaus compound against Attorney General Anil Nandlal, SC, MP, where on the 29th of June 2021, on his program Issues in the News, he went there and made some statements that I considered defamatory. I consider to be a threat. Among the things he said is that people like me have no place in a society governed by the rule of law. And then the law said so. I made a report at the Brickdam police station. I was accompanied by Attorney Selwyn Peters. I provided them with a statement. I provided them with a transcript of the offending program. And nothing happened. Nothing happened. I also made a complaint against the police ranks for the assault. I then made a complaint at the Police Complaints Authority. And when I was summoned to the Police Complaint Authority there, the late Justice Ramlal, Duke, and Romana went there, and they refused to cooperate with the Police Complaints Authority. They refused, bluntly refused, right? And he said that he was going to complain or make a formal complaint to the person who was carrying out the functions of the Commissioner of Police, Nigel Appy. I don't know if he ever did, but nothing came out of that. As a matter of fact, since then, Ramana got promoted twice. And in that period of promotion, he ended up violating the rights of the lawyer, Tamika Clark, who's our magistrate, when he arrested her for advising her client not to give a statement or not to sign a statement by the police. Some people are rewarded for that type of behavior. And the state, because she too sued the state and won judgment against them. And what happened? The policeman, the offending policeman, the offending dunce, because you got to be dunce to arrest a lawyer for advising her client not to give a statement. Among the things he told, he's alleged to have told them that the client is compellable. The man must see the word somewhere, you know the meaning of the word. Our client was compellable, right? Compellable, right? Client was compellable to give. How can a person who is accused of committing a crime or being involved in a crime be compelled to give a statement or to sign a statement? Yeah, same thing. So I'll keep reminding you. So even the ranks who listening, because it's 4 years ago, many of you ain't gonna remember, many of you know, right? Many of the people who listening ain't gonna remember, many of you ain't gonna know. I will keep it in the forefront. I will keep it in the forefront, right? Now let me move on. There's another matter that I want to talk about. I told you got to follow what is going on with Venezuela and the alleged drug shipment and so on. I read overnight that another vessel was blown out of the waters by the U.S. I think they're saying 6 persons are now dead. Yeah, pay attention. It's in the backyard. Where the United States has deployed a lot of military assets because they say that to stop the flow of drugs from the U.S., from Venezuela to the U.S., they have designated those drug cartels as terrorists and say that that gives them the authority to take the action that they are taking, right? So be aware of that. Be aware. Now let me say this. This one, yeah, share the life. This one, share the life. I read last night. You said something shouldn't shock you, but yet still when these things happen, you are shocked. It comes right back, CC, to the jury window. You don't know how you will react to something until it happens. And what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking here about a release I saw from Big Smith Newswatch. Which states, I think the thing cut off that I have. I'll read the part that I have. The Police Service Commission, let me read about. The Patrick Finley-led Police Service Commission has quietly reinstated Assistant Commissioner of Police Khalid Mandal to perform active duties within the Guyana Police Force. The PSC reinstated Mandal without any public announcement or statements. On Tuesday, Big Smith Newswatch reached out to the Police Service Commission chairman for a comment on his decision. An initial call to the chairman was met with him saying that he was in a meeting and asked us to send a message. The message was sent to him, which he read but refused to respond to. Subsequent calls to him went unanswered. In April 2025, Mandal was sent on administrative leave to facilitate an investigation, which, among other things, was meant to look into the action taken by the police in the division surrounding the disappearance of 11-year-old Adriana Young. I can't believe this thing. Maybe it's another mistake they made. I'm saying this? They put the Patrick Finley-led Police Service Commission. There is no Police Service Commission. None. There cannot be a Police Service Commission. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Are we dealing with the Constitution? This is what Slow said or what Conway said. The Police Service Commission that was led by Finley, right, was sworn in on the 31st of May 2022. The Constitution of Guyana, which is supposed to be the supreme law, I say supposed because they're violating it all the time, stipulates that the life of the Police Service Commission lasts for 3 years. So therefore, if they were sworn in on the 31st of May 2022, the life of the Service Commission would have automatically ended on the 30th of May 2025. Right? Follow me here. This doesn't require any proclamation from the president to end the life of the commission. It's automatic. And the instrument that they receive would have said so. Right? That commission comprised of Patrick Finley as member and chairman. It also comprised as Mark Conway, I think was his name. Yeah, Conway, who died in December. It also comprised of Ernesto Chuafat, right? And Akim Mohammed, and the ex officio member, Maniram Prashad, who is a member or who's the chairman of the Public Service Commission. That is what the Constitution says. At the time, let me refresh you all, when the commission was sworn in on the 31st of May 2022, it was Finlay, the Chinese Chuafat, and Mark Conway. The fourth person, Akim Mohammed, was not sworn in at the same time. He was sworn in subsequently. And they started to do their work. The commission started to work. And we, Mr. Conway, raised the issue here that the Police Service Commission, according to the Constitution, could not be properly constituted because at the time, there was no chairman of the Public Service Commission. And the Constitution made it clear that the chairman of the Public Service Commission is an ex officio member of the Police Service Commission. So in the absence of that chairman, you could not have had a properly constituted Police Service Commission. Roysdale Ford, attorney at last senior counsel, took it up and wrote something. Nonetheless, the same attorney general jump up and say, Ford following people who ain't get legal training slow and Conway, blah, 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 blah. Your mouth just run. According to them old people say your mouth run like when sick nigga drink salts. Your mouth, some people say oral diarrhea. Mouth run. Your mouth run. The matter went to court. And the Chief Justice, Madam Roxanne George, Senior Counsel, ruled that the Police Service Commission was not properly constituted. The same argument that we made. In the absence of the chairman of the Public Service Commission, it could not have been properly constituted. Nonetheless, I'd argue about quorum. You can't get, and this is what we were saying, you can't get a quorum unless the body is properly constituted. And that was the argument. We ain't got to be liars. We were police officers, well trained, and we could read and understand. Once it is properly constituted, then you can talk about quorum, but in this case, it was not properly constituted. And the Chief Justice so ruled. And they had gone ahead, they had made promotions and all of that, and the Chief Justice said she's going to use the doctrine of necessity, not necessity, there's some other doctrine, right? In other words, the ranks should not be affected. So she used the doctrine with the de facto doctrine, yes. She used the de facto doctrine, I think that's what is called, to right the wrong that was done. In other words, the ruling was, yeah, the Police Service Commission was illegal, they weren't properly constituted, But in order not to affect the ranks who were promoted, we're going to say, let the promotion run. And she gave a specific date from that day up to that date. But thereafter, they have to ensure that the Police Service Commission was properly constituted before they can do any other work. So now we're hearing, not necessity, Monty. Monty, not necessity. Necessity is another doctrine, not necessity. Right? So it's the de facto doctrine, I think. I think I'm sure what I say. As I said, me, I no liar, but we just read and understand. I think it's a de facto doctrine is what she used. So we got to talk some more about. So there can be no police service commission at this time. So I don't know what they're talking about. They say that the police service commission reinstate Mandal. There is no police service commission, and the process to appoint a new police service commission requires the involvement of parliament. There is no parliament, and it's just lawlessness in this country, breaking the laws. The constitution doesn't apply to them. Another example, and before I bring in CC, let me say this. The former chairman of the Police Service Commission, Patrick Finlay, the Scarly Bishop, I want to know how a man who is supposed to be religious is involved in all these illegalities. A man who suppose, and they're going to call out more illegalities as we go on. How can it? This man's supposed to be a bishop, and they say he's supposed to be a religious bishop. I say, based on his action, he got to be a chessboard bishop. Bishop is one of the pieces on a chessboard. How can this man be involved in all of these things? How do they sleep at night? All these illegalities, all these unlawful, unconstitutional action. Right? Wait, they ain't got a conscience? Cockroach eat out the conscience? To say that, and well, Big Smith, he say you're in a meeting, and then afterwards, you not return the call. It's dishonesty for them to sit there and say that. Dishonesty, right? And brace their money tax. But, what happened to something like respect and credibility and all that? What happened to those things? What happened to those words? They don't have any meaning for them. What about principles? What about integrity? Huh? What happened to morals? They don't mean nothing to these people. That is why I say that when you see people get like Jacob and they're walking and they're shaking up, don't sympathize with them unless you know certain things. Right? And somebody said, right, not everyone, he answered, not everyone who shout, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom. Not everyone, I don't know who would enter, but I would think that if you continue to perform these unlawful acts and so on, you can't enter the kingdom of the Lord. You can't enter the kingdom of heaven. Let me bring in CC. I'm sure he has a lot to say, and then I'm going to come back with some other points on this same matter. CC, this service commission when they talk about that reinstate Mandel. What really are you talking about?
Well, they have no service commission, and I was shocked to the bone when I read Big Smith's um, letter. But let's put things in proper context. The Police Service Commission is a constitution body. And let me tell you the process for the appointment of members of the Police Service Commission. Article 210(1) of the Constitution. And the Constitution is the supreme law. Any other law that collides with the Constitution, got to bow down and say, mea culpa, we're guilty. That whatever is written in the Constitution has got to be obeyed. And if you're drafting any law or you're drafting any policy, it got to be in accordance with the Constitution. And here is Article 210(1) talking about composition of commission. Now let me read. The Police Service Commission shall consist of a chairman appointed by the president, acting after meaningful consultation with the leader of the opposition, from among members appointed in paragraph C. B. The chairman of the Public Service Commission. And C. 4 members appointed by the President upon nomination by the National Assembly after it has consulted such bodies as appear to it to represent the majority of members of the police force and any other such body it deems fit. So the Police Service Commission consists of 5 members. The chairman of the Public Service Commission is mandatory, automatic. And then 4 members that were nominated to Parliament by such bodies that appear to represent the majority of members of the Guyana Police Force. Now, here we go. When there are vacancies existing, nominate ask the Police Association, the Ex-Police Association. Now they could ask the Women's Police Association and other bodies that appear to represent the majority. They will make recommendations to the Parliament. They submit a list to Parliament, and then the select committee in Parliament will reach and have discussion, and they will recommend, they will send a recommendation to the President. And based on the recommendation of the President will appoint those persons plus the chairman of the Public Service Commission. And after meaningful consultation with the leader of the opposition, the president will select a chairman of the Police Service Commission. As you mentioned, Paul, it is a 3 years appointment. It's there is there in writing, and it's there in your instrument. I have my instrument when I was a member of the union. It say 3 years full stop. You ain't tell nothing about extension and all kind of thing there. 3 years and you're done there. Now, we had issues before where the previous service commission, not the one that we had that we were on, the one before, where when they had wanted when they had wanted to appoint members, because they want to get rid of Parslow and Conway and others illegally. They, I remember Brutus hold a election and without the approval of Happy, and he came up with a name of Prem Narayan and others. Prem Narayan as the chairman of the Police Association. I remember that. Happy, who was performing the duties of commissioner, got to know, and Happy said, no, 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 no. The same day, Happy get impeached and they hold another election. So they had 2 elections in one day. Happy was called to Carmichael Street and called to break down. And he wrote that due to mature thinking, the election that Brutus held was the correct one. So what they do, selected their own people. They broke all the rules in relation to the police as association. Thousands of policemen were disenfranchised. They never had the opportunity to choose who were the persons they want to represent them. Opportunity wasn't there because Brutus do his own thing. And they selected people who would be favorable to them. And they selected people who, remember, that is the body, the main body that was submitting names to Parliament. And what they did, they tell me, these are the government give them, this is the names of the people that you all must send to Parliament. They handpick people and they send the name to Parliament, and Parliament had the meetings, and there's how Finley and others were elected members of the Police Service Commission. So they give them the names and say, these are the people you send. And as if to reward them, when that commission held the announced promotion, all those persons, from Narayan and others who were members of that association were promoted. Every one of them get promoted. Every one of them get promoted. And without justification, Premier moved from inspector to a superintendent. Unheard of. No justification, no proper qualification, academically or professionally. And he moved there. So the whole idea behind the thing was to get the people who are the members of, make them members of the Police Service Commission. So they're going to tell them, hey, these are the people that we want to promote, and these are the people, these are the names that you will send. And that's how they had it. And then we come back to Finley. First promotion they gonna make. I remember Saturday morning, no Friday morning. Big Smith again. There was an interview with Big Smith and the chairman of the Police Service Commission. And they asked him, what about promotion? He said that he was waiting on the list of recommendations from the Commissioner of Police to promote men. And the very next day, the very next morning, the Saturday morning, 252 persons were promoted. How could that be? Friday, you're waiting on the list, and Saturday, you promote 200 and somebody, including Prem Narayan, from inspector to superintendent? Huh? Imagine that. So they corrupted the whole process. And I say now that the commission life ended in May. They can't perform any functions. And the role of the commission is to they deal with appointment, they deal with disciplinary control and removal from office. Three main areas: appointment, disciplinary control, and removal from office. And I remember when Conway died in December or thereabout, the Service Commission could not have performed any task in keeping with the ruling of the Chief Justice, because the bottom line is they got to get 5 people and they only get 4. So all those promotions they made out after Conway died, those things are unlawful. You have to get 5 members. And when you get the 5 members, the chairman and 2 others will form a quorum. But no, shocking to hear that they're dealing with that officer there who was involved, who tell the people, look, that young lady, Adriana, had left the location with a vehicle. They give the vehicle description and everything there when it wasn't so. And then they want to blame it on some civilian, they say, working in the operation room, as the case may be. So the action, the police service commission can't perform any duties. It's in its present state. And right now they don't have a police service commission. So how could they accept, how could they deal with disciplinary control? How could they deal with promotion? How could they deal with removal from office? It is illegal, it is unconstitutional. There's a total breach of the constitution, total breach of the constitution, and we allowing it to happen. Persons must take them on. They must take them on. They can exercise no disciplinary control. They can exercise no promotion, and they can remove anybody from office. So I know how they could reinstate, if it's really called Mandel. They send him on administrative leave. You can't bring him back because there is no police service commission. And the process is nominations, I repeat myself, got to be made to Parliament by the bodies who appear to have the represent the majority of the police. The select committee in Parliament meet and discuss, submit the names to the president. The president meaningful consultation with the leader of the opposition to select a chairman, and then you have a chairman of the the Public Service Commission, and then it is fully constituted. And then I'm saying again, if they are four, they cannot perform any functions. That is the ruling of the Chief Justice, that they must have five. And you have five, the chairman and two others will form a quorum. So what go on there? What I read that Big Smith right there is mind-boggling. But then the president and the government, they get a proclivity of of going against the constitution. Do what they want to do as they like. But I hope that persons will take them on in this current issue.
Right, right. Let me address a issue. There is a, well, not a student. There's someone on the live by the name of Joseph Winslow. I know the name from Kadaki program in the morning. He making statement that black people only complaining. I don't know if that is the real name or what. We have a right to complain. Anyone has a right to complain if things are going wrong. And let me tell you, brother, if you're gonna come here, well, I call you brother. But if you come here with them type of stupidness, this is not the program for you. This is not the program. You say, well, East Indian Guyanese building all over. They're building all over because they're getting privileges that the same black people you complain about don't get. So you come to say, let me put up what he said. He said what? Them East Indian Guyanese have built and are building all them new businesses in Guyana. What have the black African Guyanese have built? What? That is what he said. What have they built or building? Absolutely nothing, because we are busy complaining. We got to complain because we are being discriminated against. We are being discriminated against. Many of these people who talk about building, they get preferential treatment. Preferential treatment. So don't come here with your nonsense, right? Don't come here. And this program, if you continue, is not for you. So you're gonna have to go to someplace else. Warning. This is one warning, right? If you want to be objective, but don't come here with nonsenseness, right? You are warned. You are warned, right? Let me move on. Mr. Conway talk about the like he need the warning. Let me deal with this chap, because he read the warning that we talk about, right? Go to some other program, right? Let me deal with the. Excuse me, I deal with the. Let me deal with Mr. Winslow, right? Because this is not a place for you. I know the name from Karaki in the morning, so let me go back to Karaki. I ain't dealing with that here, right? Let me well, Karaki doesn't tolerate the. I ain't get them type of patient, right? Now let me say this. Mr. Conway talk about the promotion where the bishop, but I can't say he lie. Because when he had the interview with Big Smith, he said they're not ready for promotion. He might very well have been sincere, right? But he got instructions thereafter. Let me tell you how it happened. Let me tell you, I'll put it in context. Context. Now, following the unlawful suspension of the police service commission that I chaired, right, whose life was due to end on the 8th of August 2021, they come and we had this thing about the promotions and so on, right? Now, I consulted with my lawyers and we said that no promotion, because remember at that time, he had some issue relating to promotions, where the promotions were held up. And we said that no promotion should be made until that issue is resolved. Remember Brutus and them go to court Stanley and them go to court Sheva and Jupiter and challenge the promotion that we made, right? So we discussed it. We said, look, let's go to court and ask the court to prevent any promotion from being made until that set of promotion that was they had the injunction on is determined in the court by the Chief Justice, and we agreed. The mistake that we took some time. The mistake that we made is that the matter, I think, was filed on on a Friday. The matter was filed and solved on a Friday. The Monday was CARICOM Day, a public holiday. So the first sitting of the court would have been the Tuesday. Now, once it was served on them, y'all hold a while. Good. Once it was served on them, they remember when you file and serve, it was served on the Attorney General and other people. The first sitting of the court would have been the Tuesday, right? Or first possible sitting. So what Mr. Conway is talking about that weekend, once the thing filed and served, that were instructed to run and make the promotion before the court dealt with it. Run, make the promotion, move it, breakneck speed, release the promotion. So by the time the matter get to the court, you can't injunct what was already done. The court could not have then issued an injunction because the action had already been taken. An injunction is to prevent a certain action from being taken. That is the reason why that bishop, that chessboard bishop, run out and they make the promotion. And like all the promotions they have made since then, a whole set of mistakes. People who had left the job and all sort of thing. I got to give you all the facts, put things in context. And let me come back to this matter with Finley and the dead police service commission, right? Let me say this. They did, even with the appointment of the tribunal to dismiss Bhutas, the Constitution is clear. I think it's Article 212. Who can be involved in disciplinary matters dealing with inspectors and above, up to the rank of assistant commissioner. Notwithstanding that, they violated that. They appointed some lawyer, they appointed Silal Prasad and all of them, formed some tribunal to inquire into disciplinary matters brought under the Police Discipline Act, Chapter 1701. Rubbish. The slow says that the Constitution is clear about that. Because it says that the Service Commission can delegate to members of the force or other members of the commission. And those persons who form that tribunal or the tribal union were not members of the force, nor were they members of the Police Service Commission. So they could not have performed any function under the Police Discipline Act. But it happened when everybody sit back and take it. I surprised that Bhutas take that. I surprised that Bhutas and I dismissed Bhutas. They were formed specifically for that purpose. And I said so. They were formed specifically to dismiss Bhutas. And that is exactly what they did. Right? And then what happened? Fast forward to this year. They made promotions in February of this year. That is the Police Service Commission. They made promotions in February of this year. When in July of this year, the president had this vision that ranks must be promoted in the force. And he went to police headquarters and he told them about the vision to promote people. Akin then went ahead and rubber stamped thousands of ranks promoted from Lance Corporal to Sergeant. This Police Service Commission whose life ended in May of 2025 then issued, Akin says so, he issued a statement to say that the Police Service Commission had promoted these people, the promoter whole set of people, when the life had ended. And they claim that the promotion had been made before the life ended. Bishop Finley again. They made that the promotion had been made. Now let me say this. So maybe they're going to tell us too, listen students, maybe they're going to tell us that the reinstatement of Mandal had been made before the 30th of May 2025. Before I'm going to tell you that, they're going to tell you it had been made. They only now making it public. If you're to follow how they operate. If you're to follow how they operate. So all of these things are unconstitutional, illegal. But I'm saying It is time for these things to be challenged, because when you leave them like that, they become precedents and it can operate against people down the road, right? All these illegal acts, a man who's supposed to be a bishop, a religious man, a man of the cloth, as they would say, involving. And not only he, the others as well, because the others have never come out and claim that they're not involved. Because while the news is saying that he reinstate this man, got to be he acting on behalf of the commission. Because he, by himself, as the chairman of the Police Service Commission, has no such authority. The Constitution speaks about the Police Service Commission. I was the chairman of the Police Service Commission. And whenever I acted on behalf of the commission, because we would meet and we would discuss, and that is what will happen. So I don't know, right? No integrity, no morals, no principle, right? And again, actions like that can be said to be dishonest. It is dishonesty to tell the public these things happen, when in many cases we know it never happened. It's just something they're saying to appease or to appease the bosses. Something, oh, we reinstate. So have you reinstated Emnat Shah, who the US sanctioned for being a drug trafficker, senior superintendent Emnat Shah? Have you reinstated him as well? Have you? And this is a commission that reinstating a man like Mandel, right? I am saying that he should not be reinstated, but there's a process. And you can't reinstate it if the life of the commission has expired. They have an assistant commissioner, Andres Jr., who was charged for conspiracy to commit fraud and misconduct in public office. Charged in 2021. Matters dismissed on December the 28th, 2023. Almost 2 years. And they can't reinstate him because he's a black man. Winslow, hello, Winslow get knocked out. Yeah? Why has he not been reinstated? And then when you talk, they're going to say, oh, you're bringing race into it. You're not bringing race, you're bringing facts. They're bringing facts. Mandal is reinstated. We had once a man who was charged with some sexual misconduct, an inspector. Quick time the matter went through. First of all, they didn't even interdict him. When eventually he was interdicted and charged, in labor time the matter was completed and he's reinstated. In labor time. And then when you talk, you get a man like Ikin sits down there who is basically warming up a seat, taking up space. Taking up space, warming up a seat. Got to talk about it every time. Let's sit down there. Can't look into these matters. Can't raise because he can't make no representation on behalf of his ranks because he's there for go home gone long time. And therefore he's afraid that if he's to make any representation, they're going to say go home, which they can do at any time. So he there down there, the ranks suffering. Ranks are suffering while he's down there collecting $8.5 million from Amir Ahmad and all of that. We got to talk about these things. We got to talk about it. So I say again in closing this on this topic. Of course, I'll give Mr. Kanye the opportunity to respond again. There is no police service commission. So this article or this post that the police service commission reinstated Mandel, let me hear what is the date of this reinstatement. Because the police service commission life ended on the 30th of May this year. And again, it goes to show lack of planning because there was nothing preventing the government from appointing a new police service commission when the one life ended. There was nothing preventing them except for the incompetence. Nothing at all. So if they wanted to bring back the same corrupt people or the same people who are alleged to be involved in all these irregularities, they could have done so. Of course, they can't bring back the dead man, Mark Conway, so they got to find somebody. They're going to find some other jackabat. That is the trend. They will find someone else to be there to do what they want done. Straight up, straightforward. CC, do you want to say anything more on this matter before we move to the next one?
Yeah, the whole thing is lack of planning, and this government isn't strategic at all. I said before, and I'm going to say it again, PPPC, poor planning promotes chaos, confusion, corruption, They knew 3 years ago that the life of the Service Commission would have come to an end in May. 3 years ago. And they can't form a Service Commission? Yeah? No strategic planning. Or not a strategy, simple common sense. You don't know, hey, that this man, this life would finish in May. Put systems in place. Follow the Constitution. Simple common sense. But then common sense isn't commonplace and isn't common in in everybody, including attorney generals.
Let me say this, and it's related because we saw or we heard, we read about this big sex scandal at the police training institution, I call it. They call them academy. I said the police training institution. Big. And then I read that an officer and 3 sergeants were transferred from the area. Big stinking sex scandal. It is alleged abortion taking place and man sleeping with man in the college and um, men bullying the women, having sex. Alleged that a senior man does roll up after hours, collect a package, and all the allegation is being alleged. Right? They said they transfer the ranks to I know where, but they transfer them from the college. 3 sergeants they claim, and an officer. That's what they say. Right? Now, why transfer alone? Why couldn't these people be sent on administrative leave? The squatter, Clifton King, has the authority to send the sergeants on administrative leave pending the outcome of this investigation. Right? If you want to know where you can find your authority, you can find your authority in the case of Moti Duki versus the Attorney General and the Commissioner then acting, who was David Ramnarine. A judgment handed down by the Honorable Justice Fidel Corbin Lincoln some years ago. Check it. You're going to see what it says, what is stated. If the commission is still functioning too, and you get the authority, well, then send the officer on administrative leave as well. Send the officer who is involved in this sex scandal at the training institution, send him on administrative leave. Because you send Mandel on administrative leave, all them months he getting money doing nothing. Shah is on administrative leave, a man who's sanctioned by the US for drug trafficking, and he getting money doing nothing. Well, follow the trend. Send the officer, I don't know who the officer is, but send him on administrative leave too. Akin can send the sergeants on administrative leave if you really want to give the people the impression you're doing something. The same thing with the matter at the airport. We read that they reported that a sergeant and some other rank were under close arrest for some corruption at the airport. And they say, and they came out eventually and said that the sergeant is attached to the narcotics branch. Because initially when the report came out, I was offended that the picture that they put up of the immigration rank would create the impression that there was in the immigration ranks who were involved. Not so. It wasn't the immigration ranks. No allegation was made against them. The allegation was made against this inspector from the narcotics branch. They did not say so initially, but then they come back and they say, well, it's narcotics branch. Right? Send E on administrative leave too. On the other rank, if it's not an inspector, put it can again. They're not serious about addressing corruption. They are not serious. They come OPR again, OPR investigating. The sex scandal, OPR investigating. The corruption at the airport, OPR investigating. Killing at Linden, OPR investigating. CID said they're not investigate a murder or a suspected murder. That is what is going on. That is what is going on. So if you really want to address this issue, right, properly, at least create the impression that you're dealing with it properly, send them on administrative leave. Send them on administrative leave. Well, in Nikin's case, you can even dismiss them, even though that will be unlawful and unconstitutional. But it's not going to be the first time you do that. You dismiss Damian McLennan, Dinabriga, Christophe Dinabriga, and Torsten Simon, who were involved in the Quinton Bacchus murder. Dismiss. no presumption of innocence. You dismiss the three young constables from Borbees when an officer misplaced his firearm. You get dismissed. No due process. So maybe you can dismiss these too. You can dismiss these as well. Go ahead, man. Dismiss them too. You have the proclivity to break the law. Do that. Not only break the law in dismissing, breaking the law by misconduct in office. You have shown, you have demonstrated that you can do that. Right? So let's see what is going to happen with this sex scandal and the one in the airport. Because the one in the airport, I read where the DPP has returned the file for further investigation. Well, let me tell you that. When you hear the DPP returned the file for further investigation, I don't know. But sometimes further investigation is a euphemism for maximum administrative delay. And then you're going to hear some nonsense. But I say this because I just see far in certain areas. They might want to claim that the virtual complainant, remember, there's a person who was leaving the country, has left the country, and therefore they can't continue with the matter. They get something now named Zoom, Team, and all kind of virtual platform. So if you really want to pursue the matter, you can make use of the virtual platforms. Right? So don't come and tell me that the person can, right? Because the person, I understand, gave a statement. Right? Even the interview can take place virtually if you really want to deal with the matter. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to address that, then we're going to move on. CC, let me see how
Yeah,
serious they are with this sex scandal allegation and the corruption report.
and let me read the authority, Article 212.3. The power to make appointment to any office in the Ghana Police Force below the rank of inspector, the power to exercise disciplinary control over person holding or acting in such office, and the power to remove such person from office shall vest with the Commissioner of Police. He has the authority, just like how you say, you remind us that the three ranks in Borbis, send them home because, as the commander said, the officer misplaced his weapon. But shortly after then, they have second promotion, lost his weapon, and he get promoted. The weapon they recover up to now, and he get promotion, they're not serious. They're not serious in terms of dealing with situations, in terms of dealing with indiscipline. I'm saying, and I'm gonna repeat it all the time, the three words that I gather from Bill Clinton, that the action, he said, the action we will take will be swift, will be certain, will be appropriate. And I want to leave those three words with the squatter, the outgoing squatter, that the action you got to take must be swift, it must be certain, and it must be appropriate.
Carl, blackout. I think at the start of this program we had blackout. I'm on standby electricity at the moment. I suspect a lot of students have been denied access to the class because you can get standby electricity. You can't be on the live, but they're going to catch up on YouTube a little later. Now let me move on. Let me move on. In what I will call a shocking development, I read yesterday joint charge against acid accused fails over procedural flaws. They have this matter where it is alleged that someone threw acid on, he threw acid on one woman and somebody who was with her got injured as well. At the time, we told you there was a lot of confusion because the CID, police CID, said that somebody confessed to this issue, give a video confession. But they also claim that the man said in the confession that he and this woman had a relationship and somehow the relationship got sour And the woman went and informed the suspect's wife that they had a relationship. So he became annoyed. And this is the part that surprised me, that he then employed someone to do the act. That is what they told us. He didn't do it himself, that's what they said. He got someone to throw this acid. And they said in the release that the person was known to the police. And then, to my surprise, I saw in the papers that they charged this man, Daniels, with throwing the acid when they told us that he is the person who procured the man to throw. And we had a long discussion here on it because we said if he did not throw, if he threw, then according to the law, he's a principal in the first degree. But if he got somebody, paid somebody, or he procured somebody to do it, then you can't charge him for throwing, he did not throw. He's a principal in the second degree, right? So they say he charged with throwing. Now, I'm reading it, I'll read it to y'all, something short. This is yesterday's paper, Stabrook News. Karen Daniels, who is accused of throwing a corrosive substance on 2 cashiers of the Balwant Singh Hospital in September, appeared yesterday before the magistrate at the Georgetown Magistrate Court. He was expected to be jointly charged with another individual in connection with the September the 3rd acid attack on Jalicha Leach and Nirmala Sukhdev. However, due to the prosecution's lack of preparedness, the matters encountered several legal complications. That's what it's saying. It goes on to say, yesterday's proceedings were marked by a series of procedural orders, which ultimately led to the dismissal of the joint charge. The prosecution informed the court that they intended to have the previously charged and remanded accused, Ivor Bilinji, brought before the court. However, when police attempted to serve the order at the prison, it was discovered that Bilinji had been released on high court bail. The magistrate advised the prosecution that 2 charges of a similar nature cannot proceed simultaneously in different courts. The prosecution responded that efforts were being made to have the matter before another magistrate court recalled, with the October 22nd date set for that process. Despite this, the magistrate maintained our position. Meanwhile, Daniels' attorney criticized the prosecution handling of the case, describing it as, quote, prosecutorial misbehavior, end of quote. Following this, the prosecution withdrew the charge and Daniels remained on bail. Comrade, hey, let me tell you something. These people, and look, this can't be all the details, but we had said from the inception, based on the release given, how are you charging Daniels for throwing the acid when you say that he procured someone, he employed someone, he paid someone to do the throwing, he didn't throw it himself, and yet still you are charging jointly? They said jointly. Well, the thing, and then they withdraw the charge, I want to bring back charge. It's a lot of nonsense. The man, Commissioner Cole, the man out on bail, is a lot of nonsense. You can't remember, this man was placed on bail. Let me remind you all, let me refresh you all. When he appeared in court first, right, the police prosecutor made some statements. Among the what the prosecutor said, I remember very well, me I got to refer to no notes, is that they have CCTV footage of this incident, and they have a video recording of this man Daniels confessing to this crime. As a result of that, the magistrate remanded Daniels to prison until the next day, right? And then told them, well, bring the evidence. Let me see this video recording that you all make, and let me see the CCTV footage. The next day. When the matter resumed the next day, the police could not have provided the promised evidence. Could not have. And based on that, the magistrate released him, Daniels, on bail. The police then came out with a statement accusing the magistrate, a most unprofessional statement, which forced the magistrate to respond And I'm happy that she did, because many times when these things happen, the people sit down and the wrong impression is created. The magistrate responded and said the police did not produce the evidence. Mr. Daniels, attorney at law Daniels, who was in court, wrote a post outlining what transpired. The bar council was compelled to write a post, right? Basically supporting the magistrate and saying the police was wrong to do what they did in terms of calling out the magistrate and all them type of thing. That is what transpired in that case. No, you ain't asked other thing. They're not ready to proceed. They withdraw charge, and they said what they do. They intended to have the previously charged and remanded accused brought before the court. However, when the police attempted to serve on the prison, it was discovered the man had been released on bail. Well, they're monitoring this thing. You're monitoring to know that the man would have gone to the high court and he get bail in this matter. That is the type of incompetence we're talking about. That is the type of incompetence we're talking about. And nothing can happen to anyone. So here it is. The woman born badly should, I think, that said that she might lose the sight in one eye. When you're looking for justice now, can't get justice because of what is alleged police incompetence. And I don't know if you get to the point where they say, they say, yesterday proceedings were marked by several procedural orders, which ultimately led to the dismissal of the joint charge. Now, if this charge dismissed, me I know you're bringing back this charge. I don't know you're bringing back this charge when the matter was dismissed. I don't know. I would have thought in my training as prosecutor and as a senior police officer, you encounter certain orders in a charge, then you rest the charge down, sign a die. Latin for indefinitely. You rest it down, sign a die, and then you bring back another charge, because once the matter has not been concluded, once there's no trial, there's nothing preventing you from bringing back the charge. But I don't know now that this matter has been dismissed, not discharged, just unless they make a mistake. They say the matter dismissed. Dismiss is different from discharge. I don't know how they're going to bring back this matter now. Let me bring in CC. He's a trained prosecutor as well. CC, the matter dismissed, and I think they're contemplating bringing back the charge. How they going to walk by?
Well, I can't see it happening. As you mentioned, what should have happened is that you put it on cyanide pending indefinitely legal advice and others, and then you would institute a new charge. But because if it dismiss, I can't see how you could bring it back. It done gone on the drain, and then they just what at your first acquit or something. And then it might be the law of double jeopardy might come into place, that you're in jeopardy twice for the same offense, the same circumstances. So there are a lot of legal issues involved. But the police blunder, and then you want to know the role of the divisional detective officers, the role of the commanders, the role of the CID chief in terms of handling file. There's a very special case, and any commander's worth his salt should really pay some interest in it. And I think the CID is supposed to pay some interest in it, but like a sheer confusion going on, but the place there. Here is it that they withdraw the charge, or the matter is dismissed, and then you're asking for bringing a new charge. It not going to work. It wouldn't work at all. But there's again a police. And then the handling of files. They don't write in them files. They don't go through them statements and that kind of thing to see whether there's enough evidence there. Man, the whole thing is a lot of nonsense going on in the place there. And like nobody ain't taking no command and control of situation.
Well, all these things, all this confusion, these are things that lead to the police being discredited. This was a fairly high-profile matter. One would have thought more attention would have been paid to make sure that you have all these legal orders that they're talking about. And somebody say, yeah, you could have been dismissed without prejudice and all of that. But it should never got there. We said from the outset that if you're gonna say that this man paid somebody to throw, you can't charge him for throwing, whether severally or jointly. You can't charge him for throwing. You could charge him for being an accessory, for being in the second degree, a principal in the second degree, because he's the one who got this person to do the thing. But to say that he true, I don't know where to go in. I don't know where that is going, right? And again, things like these lead to people making allegations of corruption. Sometimes not corruption, it's just incompetence. But when something like this happens, oh, Jackie Opel pay. Jackie Opel visited. Somebody draw. Might not be so, but that is the impression you're creating. That is the problem. The man here, Sean, him was a mastermind. They say that and that is what they said, that the man confessed that he employed someone to throw this thing. And I was baffled then, and I still remain baffled as to how you can charge E with throwing. When you're saying that the statement that you have is that he paid someone to do the tree, I really can't understand. I really and truly can't understand. Now, let me move on quickly to the next subject. I might come back to this at some stage. We talk about it. This is the traffic. As I told you, more traffic death. We had at least one more within the past 24 hours. And, the president had, let me go back a little further. You had a lot of confusion in the East Bank corridor it's every day. But apparently last Saturday, it got to the stage where the JetBlue flight crew was delayed. They couldn't get to the airport in time for a flight which was supposed to leave at 3 o'clock. So they had to push back. They said about 50 persons were late for that flight, so they pushed it back. President came in out, and he called in the contractor, the consultant, the police, and they said he read the riot act. But the riot act didn't mean much because he reading the riot act steady, and there's no significant improvement. So, we got to find some other act to read, right? But then they said they're going to address the thing. The commissioner of police, Clifton Aiken, Monday or yesterday, they might go up on the airport. What do you think, so, lad? Let me Aiken on the East Bank. They might go up on the East Bank to give the impression they're doing something, right? And the thing is, this is Kaicho News, today's Kaicho News. Aiken floods East Bank with cops. Aiken floods East Bank with cops. The talk about the traffic hell along the East Bank corridor has finally forced the hand of law enforcement following President Irfan Ali's blistering attack on what he branded gross mismanagement and slackness. That was called gross mismanagement and slackness. That is what the president said. But I want to know where the mismanagement lies. If it's not with the government, with the minister responsible and all them. So let me read on. Commissioner of Police Clifton Aiken has ordered a flood of ranks to the congested highway in a desperate bid to restore order. According to a police statement on Tuesday, that is yesterday, Commissioner Aiken, accompanied by Commander of Regional Division 4B, the division's traffic officer Michael Ramdas, and his personal assistant ASP Kevindra Lal, visited the project site to assess the situation and implement new measures aimed at ensuring smoother traffic flow. Quote, Commissioner Aiken issued strict instructions for an increased presence of traffic ranks and emphasized that firm action must be taken against road users, particularly truck drivers, who disregard traffic regulations and endanger public safety. End of quote, the police statement said. In an interview with Kaicho News, the traffic chief assistant commissioner of police, Mahendra Singh, confirmed that more than 25 traffic ranks are currently deployed between the highway base, Madwini, and Susdike to assist with traffic control. He explained that while ranks cannot be stationed continuously day and night due to rotation requirement under standard operating procedures, their presence has already made a difference. Quote, those ranks manage multiple roadways on rotation. The sustained presence is to enhance traffic management while also factoring the time off and issues of welfare, end of quote, he said. Singh further stated that even before the commissioner's directive, listen to this carefully, hear what the traffic chief said. Singh further stated that even before the commissioner's directive, additional ranks had been deployed to the area. Quote, we sent additional ranks equipped with body cameras and radio network for ease of communication and to bolster the presence of directional flow of traffic and to identify those who are constantly breaking the laws on the road, such as overtaking multiple vehicles, driving in a manner that is careless and dangerous, fail to comply with signs or directions. Our present complements our presence complements the measures in place by the contractor and consultant, end of quote, Singh said. Addressing concern about drivers using alternative routes to bypass congestion and disobeying the laws on the road, Singh warned that those caught will face prosecution. Quote, motorists, chief among them minibus operators during the peak hours, and as recent as this morning, overtook the line. They have been identified, and those who are already located and vehicles examined are forewarned of prosecution for the offense. Quote, end of quote, he stated. He also emphasized that offenders, regardless of their alignment, will face charges. Quote again, I want to be fair, mind you. The overtaking is not only done by private oriented persons. Some persons from the joint services overtake as well. Drivers who, drivers who utilize utility vehicles for ministries do the same, Singh added. Y'all bear with me. I want Miss Coty. He urged all motorists to follow traffic regulations, saying, quote, if everyone complied with the rules and drove within the available space, we wouldn't have incidents like one involving the minibus driver on the new bridge, end of quote. The commissioner's orders follows President Irfan Ali's strong rebuke on Sunday after days of severe gridlock left commuters frustrated. The president convened an emergency meeting with senior officials of the Ministry of Public Works, the Ghana Police Force, the Coast Guard, the Chinese contractor China Road and Bridge Corporation, and the US-based consultant Shelidia Associates Inc., criticizing what he described as, quote, gross mismanagement and slackness. President Ali demanded an immediate restructuring of traffic and work coordination, ordering that daily work plans be shared with the traffic control team and that all open areas be usable by the next day. The crackdown on reckless driving and blasphemy, President Ali instructed Police Commissioner Kim to establish a permanent control base along the corridor using containerized command posts and 24 hours drone surveillance to monitor traffic and identify violators. The president made it clear that his patience had run out. Quote, all the trucks that are breaking the rules, all the trucks that are breaking the laws, forming 3 lanes and 4 lanes, you have to charge the drivers, end of quote. The president warned bluntly. Mr. Ali also ordered the control room move closer to the construction site and demanded a new work plan showing how additional machinery and manpower will be deployed to immediately accelerate progress. He also instructed the Coast Guard and the Police Marine Unit to be on standby to ferry passengers to the Chedijagan International Airport if traffic becomes unmanageable. Ali concluded with a stern warning that no further excuses will be tolerated. Quote, there must be no coordination, there must be coordination, teamwork, and precision in getting this work done, end of quote. He said, signaling a zero tolerance approach to mismanagement and indiscipline along one of the country's most vital transportation corridors. Now, that was a mouthful. We're going to come back to it at some time. But if the president talking about mismanagement in a matter like this, who is to be blamed? This is a ministry, this is a government project. This is a project by the government. So you are in factoring all these traffic problems and so on. The main artery to the airport. In some cases, the only place is no bypass. You want to tell me the government did not factor all of this into the planning? You wait till now to tell people about all these things, deploying police and all of that. And let me say this before I bring in Mr. Conway, time running out on us. I want to compliment the police traffic department on the way they manage the traffic on the East Coast during peak hours, in the mornings and in the afternoons. They do a good job getting the traffic along. Getting the traffic, because as I've said, some people complain about traffic ranks being at intersections where they are functioning traffic lights, and they want to know why. Because traffic lights, especially the type that they have, are not meant to be efficient. They are effective but not efficient. I explained this before. And therefore, they do an excellent job in moving the traffic along in the mornings and in the afternoon. In the morning, get to the part where they convert the northern carriageway, the north carriageway that proceeds east. The southern lane of the northern carriageway allows for a third lane going west toward Georgetown. So, yes. So you want to tell me, Mayenja Singh, Akin, Ejil, and all of them, you couldn't have put something in place on the highway, on the East Bank? You wait until the president after came in out, and then the usual seagull management for your run and say that you put in all thing with drone and a body camera and all sort of thing you are talking about now. Now you are waiting to do that. That was a problem there for longest while. And if the commander and them were looking at it, because the commander can't divorce himself from the responsibility. We have said to you over and over, the responsibility for traffic, the responsibility for CID, the responsibility for all policing in a division lies with the commander. Commander is the person who's responsible. I hear now CID taking over, the crime chief taking over responsibility for CID. Me, I know how that's going to work. I don't know how that's going to work. But it's a clear case of incompetence. Clear case. You can't describe it as anything else. Nothing else you can describe it. Tell you must leave early to go to the airport. How early are you going to leave? How early? You got a 3 o'clock flight. You're supposed to check in 3 hours in advance. So you're going to check in at 12 o'clock. All right? Many people cater for a little 1 hour, maybe 90 minutes. But it is clear from what happened on Saturday, the 1 hour and 90 minutes leaving Georgetown, I'm talking about Georgetown, is not adequate because of the poor management of the traffic. And we said on Monday, all of these things should be taken into consideration. Flight times, they ought to have flight times. So it's not just willy-nilly managing. What they had, police, as far as I am aware, the police never took over the management of the traffic. It was left to the contractor to get too little girl or too little by there with some sign, mark, stop, go. There was no science to it. So there's no, and of course, you have policemen in uniform and the drivers, many of them don't obey them. Imagine you get some little boy, some little girl with some jacket and calling stop and go. Imagine what's going to happen. This is not something that could not have been foreseen. But poor planning has led to this. I hope that it is alleviated, and I hope it's not a one-off, they run there for satisfy. Because the president talk, we got to talk Sunday, they run there. But they can't have to ask the question, what was the commissioner doing there? They ain't got a traffic chief, they ain't got a divisional commander, but it's just a photo opportunity. He went there for a photo op, and the corporate communication unit plastered it that the commissioner been on the scene. Wasting time. That time when you take to go there to say you were on the scene, you could have continued packing up your Georgie bundle to catch your distance. Because it's overdue. And the sooner the government realizes that the people that they have at the top, especially Kin, is incompetent and can't do what is to be done, the sooner they realize that, it's going to be the better for them. The sooner they realize that, it's going to be the better. You got scandal in the sex scandal in the police training academy. They call them an academy. Confusion in the East Bank, things that could have been dealt with. You got cocaine torn in flour. You got Officer Mandal with the Adriana Young case. You got another senior officer sanctioned as being a drug trafficker, right? All of these things, he himself, $8.5 million. What more do you want to see to convince yourselves that this man need to catch the distance, keep getting up, as they would say? What more do you want to see? The man is incompetent. The man should have never been there in the first place. I said so long before he was appointed because I know him. So he's not qualified either academically or otherwise. Are you seeing it now? The whole country seeing it now. And it's problem after problem. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to comment on this and make his closing remarks. CC?
Yeah, the whole thing boils down to lack of planning, and everything they're not strategic. Just like how they plan up to now to get a police service commission, and I get out the dead one, resurrect the dead one from the grave, and passing out the zombie policing you going on with the place there. But coming back to the visit by the outgoing squatter, what really he was doing there? And then it's very instructive that the traffic chief wasn't there. Maybe because he must, you know why he wasn't, because he said even before the commissioner's directives, additional ranks have been deployed to the area. We sent additional 25 ranks and blah 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 blah. So he said, me ain't getting there. Why ain't gonna really commissioner? I don't put 25 ranks, I don't put things in place. And he get a tendency, when you make suggestions, he coming up with a better one, and that ain't working. He's always the supreme. We talk about the thing on the highway, and he talk that they get systems in place to deal with the situation. There's it. The commissioner go down there, and the traffic chief is nowhere. And because he said that even before the commissioner's directive, additional ranks have been deployed to the area. He talk about 25 ranks, blah 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 blah. And this thing, I always say in traffic is about road walk. Yes, I hear the talk about Jones, you got a board eye view. But you gotta get what people call a worm's eye view, where you're up on the ground there and you could see it, you could feel it, you could hear it, you could deal with it on the spot. Not only boards are worms, as you see it, you feel it, you hear it, you touch it, you get the impression, you know what is happening there, and based on that, you utilize your human and other resources. But them are doing them thing. The traffic chief was saying, "Nah, go on the ground, either in office, air conditioned office, or either on the air." And giving things to show that everything is bright and beautiful, that they're doing their best, But when you're incompetent and you try your incompetent best, you're still incompetent. Back to the training, the training department. I hope they do a proper investigation, not only in relation to sexual offenses and them kind of thing there. Look at the way it is organized, always operating, the type of person they carry in there. For the matter, they got a woman there who I can't blame her. Went to Russia, I think, for 5 years she spent, including 1 year learning the Russian language, where she did forensic science, and with no training background, she's the head of the training department, and surrounded by a lot of persons who won't get no idea what training, who do not understand the nature of adult learning. So what do you expect going to happen there? Where men and women together, especially youths, certain things are expected to happen, but you got to know how to deal with it. Calls for good leadership. I know, yes, to be practical, many policemen many husbands met their wives in training school. Many wives met their husband in training school. But you got to know how to deal with this situation. Not brother thing going on, not senior rank senior to you, collecting females during the evening and bring them back. Not here. You gotta get sex for grade, sex for grade, sex if you want pass, and them kind of things. So many things happening there, that they need a broader and deeper investigation. And don't tell me about OPR. Don't tell me about AP, because there might be many criminal there, many criminal activities, and there be many departmental charges that the Police Act say every offense against discipline shall be investigated as soon as practical by memory force not below the rank of a sergeant and of a higher rank than the memory force who is alleged to have committed offense. Hey, sergeant investigating and sergeant investigating inspectors and officers at the training environment. So look at the training environment. That's the cradle. If you want the people to send their children there, look at the training environment. Put proper people in the environment. And understand them ones that are transferred from there. They should have never been there in the first place. They should have never been there that because they has become a dumping ground. The college has become a dumping ground. But let's see what's going to develop.
Yeah, thank you, my brother. Just in closing, I just want to remind you, I've been able to monitor what the Gary case, the Quindon Bacchus murder case should be going on now. That's something we should pay interest to, where Police Lance Corporal Christoph de Nagelberger is charged for the murder of Quindon Bacchus. Now was a special bench run. We should follow to see what's going on with that matter. Today is Wednesday. Tomorrow, Thursday, normally 2 o'clock, the Vice President has come out with what he call a press conference. But, I tell y'all the thing. Let me play y'all a song for y'all, man. I'm going to play the song and then we're going to move on.
It was a big bacchanal just the other day with Enid and Shimakume. Big comments the other day with Enid and Shimakume. I ain't want to hear, so I pass him straight. A fella pull me and tell me wait. Same time Enid husband get off the bus. Well, it's now the Makume start to cuss. She say, look Enid, remember it's you who say how you hire your husband so total bay. Your sweet man does come home in the house too. He could only watch and he can't say, yeah Enid, woman, why you lying on me? Girl, I'm not in your category. And if even said what you said is true, you have a man with your husband too. It's me, but I felt so shame when I hear she called him my name. He's so shocked, he don't know what to do, so he stand up there listening to. A policeman was right on the beat, run to make an arrest, but he come as sweet. Enid is a big socialist in South. She want to cuss, but she hardly open she mouth. Girl, you should shame to curse me for true. It's me, Enid, who you talking to. When you were sick in the hospital, I lend you me dress, me nighty and all. What you know about shame, the Makume say. You didn't shame last week Saturday when your husband come home earlier. Instead, you had to hide the man underneath the bed. When the man hear that, he face come pale as mud. If you choke him, you can't get blood. Watching the wife and shaking the head, I say, Lord, well, tonight she dead. And next comments, woman listening shout, hey, hey, mouth open man Tory jump out. This time the Makume put she hand on she waist, and if you see how she getting on in the place, she say, look in it, it's better you leave and go. Don't let me talk everything I know, because you and Doris couldn't agree. You tie the child in the girl belly. I don't care what you say to do, I am still Mistress Enid Bedu. Bailey fair take back my TV set, and I never thief peas in the market yet. Now the husband share day me couldn't take no more. He tell the wife, girl, come let we go. He hold she hand and he pulling she, but she tugging away from me. The Makume say, yes, you manny cool. You better take she away for true. She hire so dotish and borrow kid. What she give to rob, is that you take and eat? He say, listen young woman, stop making strife. You wanna put me against my wife? In front me face you're lying on she. My wife ain't have nobody with me. I know that man you are speaking about. That is her cousin who first from south. When he come home with a sleeping tree, sometime I myself does take he for me.
Big time using cousin Rufus from South. Sometimes I myself that's techie for me. Folks, the last thing I want to mention as time has caught up with us, we gotta keep still monitoring this extradition story, the indictment against Azuddin Mohammed and his father. We're looking to see up to now no proclamation for the 13th parliament. All of those things are interlinked, I'm telling you. All of those things. And people saying the process is that a request would be made for him to be extradited. I want for the request and make yet. Once the request is made, you have to go through a legal process. That is if you are following the rule of law. But I get a strong suspicion telling you how I look at the crystal ball. Crystal ball said that this government is not going to follow no rule of law. Once the request is made, President Muhammad is going to find himself in the U.S. to face the charge or the charges because 11 come to indictment. Watch and see what's going to happen. Watch and see. Almost 2 to 3 weeks since that indictment was handed down, I am sure by now that request would have been made. And they're going through. Let me wait and see. Folks. We have come to the end of another day. A lot of technical issues with blackout and all of that. I suspect from the numbers of students who were in the classroom that many of them might have been affected by the blackout. So all I want to say to you, is guy you there. 5 more years, you got to endure. That's what I vote for. And talking about voting, the people vote for Azuddin Mohammed. So it's the people's will that Azuddin Mohammed gets 16 seats. But look how they're going to throw that through the window. Look to see how that is likely to be thrown through the window. It is likely to be thrown through because we can do what we want to do. Because according to what GSK Lal said, we're talking about a gang of gangsters. It's not a government, a gang of gangsters. Folks, I again have to urge you to be safe. Be safe. Until we meet again, God's Spirit Life, Friday afternoon. Be safe. Until then, bye.